Knoxville has a super cool downtown area, but it also has a lot of really great suburbs and surrounding small towns. And we're gonna check out this downtown and then go out into those surrounding areas, because one of the number one reasons that so many people will move to this area is actually for the lakes and the mountains. And as we get out there, you'll see there are several lakes in the area. There's actually one right here in downtown, and then the mountains are just about 45 minutes away. So we're actually gonna go up into some of the towns that are closer to the mountains. One of them is actually right up there in the mountains. And that's really one of the top reasons why people will move to this area in general, just to have the natural beauty of the lakes and the mountains, and then all the outdoor activities that come along with that. But we gotta start out here in this downtown, because this is actually a really cool area as well. And this first part that I'm in is kind of like the center of downtown. It's called Market Square. And there's different events that go on in here. They'll have farmers markets like what's going on right now. You know, in the wintertime, there'll be an ice skating rink set up in here, and just all kinds of events, music festivals, all kinds of stuff. And then there's also, just on the outside here, there's just lined with different restaurants and bars and coffee shops and things like that. So this is a super cool area to come hang out, and there's always something going on down here. I mean, it's like 10 a.m. on a Tuesday morning right now, and there's a bunch of people down here at this farmer's market. So the downtown area is super cool, even in addition to those surrounding lakes and mountains. But Market Square isn't the only thing. You know, that's Market Square back there, but you go pretty much any direction off here, and you're gonna get to more cool areas with, you know, different restaurants, some cool hotels. There's a really cool old hotel right down on the corner here with a restaurant in it as well. And then a couple blocks further that way is actually where the river is. And then this next street over is gonna be one of the main roads through downtown with a ton more to do. There is a cool old theater called the Tennessee Theater down here. Actually, the Bijou Theater is another theater just down the street. So some cool theaters that have live music and a lot of different stuff like that. A movie theater across the street here. There's a bowling alley that's kind of like a cool historic building with a bowling alley in it. And then a ton of other really good restaurants down here. One of the cool things about Knoxville is it's really still a pretty small city. So you can see there's 2 skyscrapers right down the street here, but these are literally the only 2 skyscrapers in the entire downtown. So it has still more of that small town feel, really a large city. So the cool thing is it has kind of the small town vibe, but then it also makes it a lot easier to get in and out of. So even if you live out in the suburbs or the surrounding area, it's really easy to drive in and find parking. You're not gonna deal with a ton of traffic or anything. So it's a lot easier to come enjoy the downtown than it would be in a larger city, and you still get kind of that cool small town vibe. And there are a lot of cool shops, but my favorite is probably Mass General Store, which is kind of a cool old general store, but it also has a ton of like hiking and camping equipment, a lot of clothing and stuff like that. So Mass General Store is definitely one of my favorites that's in the downtown area. And just down the hill from the main part of downtown is the area called the Old City, and it's really just more kind of coffee shops, restaurants, and there's actually some cool lofts down here. There's actually a bunch of apartments and lofts up in the main part of the city too, I didn't mention. But you know, if you are looking for more of that urban lifestyle, there's a bunch of condos for sale down here, and of course apartments available. But this Old City area is just another cool hangout area. There's actually a brand new baseball stadium just over the hill here that's for the Knoxville minor league team. So if you're a baseball fan, that's pretty cool. The city actually invested quite a bit to bring that new stadium into downtown. So this is just another cool hangout area, part of the downtown. Our first stop as we head out from downtown is West Knoxville, and one of the things that really characterizes West Knoxville is the lake. So this is the Tennessee River right here, and that's actually the river that runs through downtown. And then as you go further out west, this forms Fort Loudon Lake. So one of the things that characterizes West Knoxville is you have the lake. So there's a ton of great lakeside communities, but then of course anywhere you live in the area you can access it. A lot of great parks along the lake, and then there's marinas and stuff like that. And then so the lake is one of the things, and then having the parks is another characteristic of West Knoxville. This is Sequoia Park where I am now. And there's also, most of these parks have greenways that run through them. So there's one of the greenways actually along through the neighborhood here behind me. So if you're somebody that likes the greenways and likes the parks and want to have a lake close by, then West Knoxville is one of the great places to be. Some of the other towns that we're going to check out also have nice parks and greenway systems, but West Knoxville is really one of the best places to find those. So this is where we are right now, and downtown Knoxville is right here. So we're just out from downtown, and West Knoxville on the map is labeled right here. This is not what I'm referring to as West Knoxville. Nobody really calls that area West Knoxville. West Knoxville is kind of ambiguous because it's just a kind of a general section of Knoxville, but generally it's kind of this area of Knoxville that's circled on the map right here. And sometimes you would even consider this further area out here West Knoxville as well. But that's the area we're checking out. And as you can see, the lake kind of runs right along the southern side of the entire area. And then there's that other lake just to the north as well. Sequoia Hills is the neighborhood right next to Sequoia Park. And so, of course, you have access to the park that I was just at with the river right next to it. And then you have that long greenway and walking trail. But the homes in this neighborhood are some of the coolest homes with a ton of character that really you're going to find in the entire Knoxville area. A lot of these are historic homes. There are a couple newer ones, but almost all of them are more historic homes. They have nice large lots, but really the coolest part about it is just the mature landscaping, the large mature trees, just the unique character of every home. So this is one of the prettiest neighborhoods really in the entire area, and it is really a very large neighborhood, and there's going to be homes anywhere from around the 500,000s up to like 5-6 million. So there's a huge range. There are some condos that are in the middle of the community that are going to be in the 300,000s. So a ton of different range, and really cool to see all the different character and the mature trees and landscaping. So the lake is one of the things that stands out about West Knoxville, but then shopping is really one of the other things. So most of the largest shopping areas are in West Knoxville. You know, anywhere in East Tennessee, these are going to be the largest shopping areas. So this is just one, and you know, you go out this main road, kind of the next 10 miles is just lined with, you know, kind of different shopping centers like this one here. So, you know, kind of your typical stuff that you're going to find throughout these things. This is the area of town where you're going to find stores like Anthropologie, Lululemon, you know, Whole Foods, Costco, all those kind of things. So if you want to be really convenient to that type of shopping and a ton of shopping centers like this, then West Knoxville is where you're going to be able to find that. Lakeshore is another great park in West Knoxville, and this one also sits right along the lake, but it also has playgrounds, it has baseball fields, and pickleball courts is probably the most important part. But it also has this greenway. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's around a couple miles long. But anyways, it's a nice large greenway, and then just a beautiful hangout area. And you can also see the Smoky Mountains out there in the background. So again, these parks, you know, we saw Sequoia Park and then Lakeshore Park, and there are a few others. The parks are another one that stand out about West Knoxville. Just past Lakeshore, there's a section of West Knoxville that has a lot of these neighborhoods with homes on like 1 to 2 acre lots. And a lot of these actually sit out along the lake. So you can, you know, you get a home on a nice large lot, tons of privacy. As you can see, there's tons of trees around here. So there's no cookie cutter neighborhoods out here whatsoever. So if you're looking for an area that's kind of more private and secluded with homes on large lots and, you know, trees everywhere, but still really convenient to the other stuff in West Knoxville, like to get over into the shopping area, you're literally about a 2-minute drive from here. So you can be out on the lake, kind of in this secluded area, and still be just a couple minutes away from that shopping area. Also, some of the homes out here are on like 5 to 10 acre lots, and some of these views out over the mountains and out over the lake. And this is actually one of the areas that's the most expensive in the Knoxville area, because I mean, some of these homes are, you know, like 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 square feet. Sitting on these large lots, views of the lake and the mountains is really kind of one of those premier areas in Knoxville, plus being so convenient to West Knoxville. So a lot of the homes in here are going to be like in the $1 to $5 million range, and that's just a reflection of the large lots, the beautiful homes, the views, and the convenience to everything in West Knoxville. So this is Westtown Mall, and this is a large shopping mall that's kind of part of the larger shopping area in West Knoxville, and it kind of has everything that you would expect in your normal indoor shopping mall. But just to give you an idea, that large kind of private area with all those neighborhoods, you know, large wooded lots, that is just about 5 to 10 minutes from here, depending on what part of that neighborhood you're in. So that just gives you an idea how convenient it is. You can be in that really private, secluded area, kind of out next to the lake, and still be just 5 to 10 minutes away from the shopping area. And this is one of the new construction neighborhoods in West Knoxville, and this is kind of what you're going to find in the $800,000 to $1 million price point. So all brick homes, nice character, you know, well kept, well manicured lots. And again, $800,000 to $1 million price point. This is kind of the style of new construction neighborhood that you can expect. And one of the things to notice about it, the lots for most of the new construction neighborhoods are quite a bit smaller than, you know, the homes say built back in the 80s and 90s. So if you are looking for a new home, that's just one of the things to keep in mind. This is one of the lakefront communities in West Knoxville, and this kind of just gives you an idea for what these lakeside communities look like. And if you want a home that is right on the water, there's plenty of them. You can have your own private boat dock, of course, the views of the lake and everything that comes with that, you know, just the natural beauty and then the access to your own private boat dock. But then they also, a lot of them will have their own community boat docks that even if you live back off the lake, you know, further back in the neighborhood, you're still gonna have access to that community boat dock. So again, the lakes are really one of the unique things, one of the big parts about living in the Knoxville area, and specifically convenient to West Knoxville. This is a cool new development in West Knoxville called North Shore Town Center, and the cool thing about it is it has a really nice neighborhood up the hill here that's attached to this commercial area. So you have a bunch of restaurants down through here that are actually walkable from the neighborhood up the hill there. So Kazi's Corner Grill on the corner is a great restaurant. You have Soccer Taco and a bunch of other stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff like Five Guys and Chick-fil-A over here, and a bunch of other restaurants. But then you also have, just over the hill here, you have a Target and a Publix, and it just makes it a really convenient area. I'll go up and show you the neighborhood in just a second. But really, anything that you need, like on a weekly basis, you're gonna have right here in this development, and it's walkable from that neighborhood up there. And this is the neighborhood area of North Shore Town Center, and if you could see over those townhomes, that's actually where the commercial development is. So literally walk down this sidewalk here. You could get there in just a couple minutes walking. So out at the front here, you have these cool townhomes. In the back of the neighborhood is where the standalone single family homes are, and they have a ton of character. I mean, this is definitely not a cookie cutter community at all. So if you want, kind of that style and that custom feel and the convenience, this is a great place to be able to get that. Plus it has this beautiful green space in the middle and just the walkability with the sidewalks and the walkability down to those restaurants in the commercial area. Hey, really quick, my name is Forrest McCullough, and my real estate team has helped hundreds of people make the move to Tennessee. If you're thinking about moving to Tennessee and you want to see how my team can help, all our contact info is down in the description below. You can also book a Zoom call using the link down there, so feel free to reach out anytime. This neighborhood here is called Gettysview, and this is one of the only neighborhoods with a country club in it. And if you're looking for a neighborhood that has all the amenities like restaurant, fitness center, tennis, pickleball, pool, and of course the golf course as well, this is going to be one of the only ones in really the entire Knoxville area that's going to offer all those things. And this is still convenient to get into downtown. There's a few other communities that are further out that have the golf and all the amenities, but most of those are even. So this one right here, we're about 15 to 20 minutes to get into downtown. Those other ones are going to be 35 to 40 minutes to get in. So this one's just a little more convenient. If you are looking for something right in Knoxville with all the amenities, then Gettysview is going to be one of two. I'm going to show you one other one, but it's going to be one of the only options to get all of those amenities. This is Concord Marina out here behind me, and again, the lake is one of the things that's really convenient to the West Knoxville area, and we're actually going to see several other communities that sit right along the lake, but this one, really what stands out again about West Knoxville is you have the lake here. There's a couple other marinas, but this is one of the largest. So you have the lake here, but then literally just 10 minutes from here is where the large shopping areas are, and then kind of in between that is where a bunch of the neighborhoods are. So you can be, in those neighborhoods, 5 minutes to get over here to the marina, 5 minutes to get over to the shopping. So as far as being lakeside and super convenient, this is really the best area to be able to find that. This is Turkey Creek, and this is the largest shopping area really in the entire Knoxville metro. This shopping area kind of goes about another mile that direction and then another mile that direction. I think it's about 2.2 miles long, just streets lined with kind of these shopping developments, some large stores like Walmart and Target, and then a lot of smaller stores along through here. But there's a few things over in West Knoxville that are really must-haves for some people. There's a Costco that's about a mile that way, so you have the Costco, and then you also have Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. So the only Costco, Whole Foods, and Trader Joe's within about 2 hours of here are right here in West Knoxville, and I know those are must-haves for a lot of people moving to the area. So the next area we're going to check out is the town of Farragut, and it's a town on the west side of Knoxville. It's actually still in Knox County, but this is where we are right now in Turkey Creek. So Turkey Creek is actually half in Farragut, half in just West Knoxville. If you live in Farragut, you might just say you live in West Knoxville, but it is its own distinct town. So this is Turkey Creek where we are now. The West Knoxville area that we've just finished checking out is kind of this entire area. This is Concord Marina, the marina that we just checked out. So that's kind of the areas that we have been. And then Farragut is going to be a town that kind of sits right in here. So over on the west side of Knoxville, so you still have a lot of the same conveniences. You're right next to the lake, but it is its own distinct town. And this is kind of the location of it compared to downtown. It's about a 25-minute drive to get into downtown from here. But of course, you have all the amenities out in Turkey Creek and the other shopping areas in the lake. You don't really ever have to leave if you don't want, but if you wanted to get over to downtown, it's just about a 25-minute drive. So Farragut doesn't really have a downtown area, but it does have this new development that's kind of like a town center. It's actually literally brand new. So most of these storefronts are still being finished with construction, but there are some businesses starting to move in. Most of these down here at the front have been filled with, restaurants and stuff like that. But there's a bunch more towards the back here. And this is kind of just an area that's a little bit more of like a hangout spot than just a shopping area. So you can kind of park and walk around more easily. So a bunch of stuff throughout here, but Farragut is actually consistently rated as one of the top suburbs in the entire state of Tennessee to live. And one of the reasons for that is all the convenience with the shopping and everything in Turkey Creek. And then it didn't even, it's had that rating without even having this town center, but now it has this little town center area. So it kind of adds to that a little bit. But then one of the other things is right across the street here are the Farragut schools. And these schools are rated as some of the top schools in the entire state by places like niche.com and greatschools.org. So having those top rated schools, the convenience with the shopping and all that makes this, niche.com, for example, rates this as like top 5 suburbs in the state most years. So kind of just gives you an idea, a lot of stuff here in Farragut with the top rated schools that really make it a good family area. Farragut is similar to the other parts of West Knoxville as far as the style of the neighborhoods. So there are some of these neighborhoods like the one I'm in now that have older homes. These aren't that old, these are 30 to 40 years old. Nice brick homes, and the thing that stands out is similar to the older neighborhoods that we already saw, the lots are gonna be larger. You're gonna have these larger mature trees, the mature landscaping. So it really gives it kind of that more private, secluded feeling. And then the newer neighborhoods, again, are gonna have those smaller lots, except for a couple of the custom home neighborhoods. I'll show you one of those. This is just an example of if you want one of those larger lots with the mature trees and the mature landscaping, then going with one of these older neighborhoods with maybe an updated home is going to be a good way to go. There's some great parks in Farragut as well, just like the other parts of West Knoxville. This one is called McPhee Park. It's actually got a ton of stuff to do here. They've got pickleball courts over here, basketball court. There's actually a soccer field, playground, and a splash pad up the hill here. So a bunch of stuff. One of the other cool things, there's a greenway just over the hill here, and that greenway actually connects through most of the neighborhoods. A lot of the neighborhoods that you live in Farragut, you're gonna be able to hop on the greenway and get to the park, or just go for a walk or a bike ride. So having the greenways and all these parks, another one of the highlights of Farragut. This is one of the new developments in Farragut, and as you can see, a little bit smaller on the lot sizes than that older community that I was just in. One of the things about buying a new home is a lot of the times the floor plans are just a little bit more functional than some of the older homes. They have just the completely open floor plans, and of course they're completely updated. These communities, there's kind of 2 different ways to buy homes. They have homes that are available and ready to move into, but they also have a custom option, so you can select a lot and choose your floor plan and then go through the build process and make all the customizations. So it's cool to have those 2 different options. This is built by Saddlebrook Properties, so that's one of the builders here in the Knoxville area. But the homes in here are going to start in the 800,000s, so kind of 800 to around 1.1, 1.2 to get a lot of these homes in here. So if you're looking for something that's ready to move into, they have those, or if you want to do the custom build option, that is another option in here. This is another park that's actually right outside of Farragut over in West Knoxville, but it sits right along the lake, and you actually have, like a white sand beach for swimming. You can see a bunch of boats out there and people down there. And then you also have, a bunch of picnic tables, a volleyball court, a playground down here. And then over here on the side, just on the other side of that building, you can actually rent kayaks and paddle boards. So, even if you don't have a boat, you can enjoy the lake at places like this. And then there's also the greenway that runs along through here and kind of wraps out through the woods and out along the lake. So, whether you want to come out here, have a picnic, enjoy the lake, go on the greenway, or actually get in and swim, you can do all that stuff. And this is going to be just about 5 minutes away from a lot of those neighborhoods that I was just in. This neighborhood is called Bridgemore, and this is one of the only neighborhoods where there are still lots available for sale where you can do a true custom build. So if you want to have, a complete custom process where you own the lot, you can bring any floor plan you want, make any selections you want, then this is one of the neighborhoods that you can do that. Of course, kind of opposed to those other new developments where the lot sizes are going to be a little bit smaller, you can actually find really large lots in this neighborhood, and you can build a larger home. With the other new neighborhoods, most of those homes are in about the 2,500 to 3,500 square foot range. A lot of the homes in here are in the 4,000 to 8,000 square foot range. So if you want a larger lot and to be able to build a larger custom home, then Bridgemore is one of the places you can do that. And by the way, we can get you connected with some great custom builders in the area. So if you are thinking about building custom, of course we can help you find that perfect new home to buy if you're wanting to buy. But if you are wanting to build custom, we can also connect you with some great custom builders. This is Fox Den Country Club, and this is one of the other country clubs that's in the Knoxville area. Really, a lot of people that are looking for all the amenities are actually going to end up needing to be a member of one of these country clubs, because in a lot of states where people are moving from, Florida, Texas, California, stuff like that, a lot of the communities will have all the amenities kind of built into them, but most of the communities in Knoxville don't really have any amenities at all. So some of the ones further out do, that I'll show you. But if you want to be within a few minutes of Knoxville, or be close to downtown or close to shopping and everything, then being a member of one of these country clubs is going to be the way for you to have access to the golf course, the gym, the restaurant, tennis, pickleball, all that kind of stuff. So if you want all that, then one of these country clubs is going to be the way to go. This one is called Fox Den. It's in Farragut. All these neighborhoods kind of run back through the golf course, which makes it really pretty. And this is the Fox Den neighborhood, and it's a really pretty neighborhood. A lot of these homes were built back in the 70s and 80s, so it is one of those older, more established neighborhoods. Tons of mature trees and landscaping, but also a lot of these homes sit right on the golf course, which makes it really pretty. So you have a really nice setting. And the other thing about it is you don't have to be a member of a country club to have access to a golf course and gyms. There are plenty of public courses. There's actually one right across the street from here. There's plenty of gyms as well. It's just, if you want to be a part of kind of that all-inclusive lifestyle with all those things included, then one of these country clubs is going to be the way to go. Our next stop is a suburb called Hardin Valley, and this is right across the interstate from Farragut, so we're literally about 10 minutes away from Turkey Creek, for example. Hardin Valley does not have nearly as much as Farragut does, but it does have some commercial development, like what I'm in right here. There's restaurants, a large grocery store. There's going to be things like gyms and some doctor's offices. So a lot of stuff right here. Most of the neighborhoods we're looking at are going to be about 5 to 10 minutes this way. So if you want to come right here, you can be about 5 minutes to get to the grocery store and all this kind of stuff. There's a Chick-fil-A across the street here, a bunch of different restaurants. But if you want to get over into the larger shopping area, you can go about 10 to 15 minutes over into the other part of Knoxville. But Hardin Valley is actually an unincorporated area, so it's not a town. It's more just a bunch of neighborhoods and kind of this little commercial development. So it doesn't have quite as much as far as, it doesn't have a greenway, it doesn't have as many parks as Farragut or the other parts of West Knoxville, but there are a lot of nice neighborhoods, and one of the things is the prices are a little bit lower than over in Farragut. So we'll go check out what some of these neighborhoods are like and what you can get for your money here in Hardin Valley. So this is one of the new developments in Hardin Valley, and the homes in here start in the 500,000s. So over in Farragut, the lowest price new construction homes are going to be starting in the 600,000s, but most of them are actually going to be in the 700,000s and above. But the homes in here start in the 500,000s, and these are actually custom, semi-custom homes. These three right here are actually ready to move into, but you can select one of the lots over here. There's a bunch of lots still available. You can select a lot and choose your floor plan and then make all your selections. So to have a custom option in the 500,000s is one of the things that stands out about Hardin Valley compared to Farragut, and it makes sense to compare it to Farragut because it's right across the interstate, so you still have really close access to get over into all the shopping areas that Farragut has. You don't have the parks and the greenways like Farragut, although there is a nice park over here I'm about to go to. But if you want to get in a new construction home in the 500,000s and still be convenient to Turkey Creek, then this neighborhood or one of the others in Hardin Valley can be a great option. Hey, if you're thinking about moving to Tennessee, but you're not sure what area would be the best fit for you, I developed a framework I call the PATH framework to help you narrow down the location from all the way across the entire state to a specific community that would be the best fit for your lifestyle. And we can go through this framework with you on a 30-minute Zoom call. So if that sounds like it would be helpful, it's super easy to schedule a call. You can click the link in the description below or simply scan the QR code that's on the screen here, and we'll go through this framework with you and help you narrow down the area, whether it's Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, somewhere in between. Or if you already know an area that you want to be in and you're ready to start your home search, you can use that same link to book a call with us, and we would love to connect with you. This is Melton Hill Park. This is the one large park in Hardin Valley, and there's not, like I said, there's not as much in it as the parks over in the other parts of West Knoxville and Farragut. You don't have pickleball, you don't have basketball courts. You do have a sand volleyball court and a playground up here, but it is one of the prettiest settings for any of the parks around. It sits right on Melton Hill Lake. So that's Melton Hill Lake, and that's actually the lake that's on the north side of Knoxville. So you have Melton Hill Lake up on one side, you have Fort Loudon on the other side, and then you have this walking trail, greenway that goes back kind of around this field out along the lake. So it's a really beautiful setting, and this is absolutely huge. Reaches all the way back over to the other bend of the river, and you have a boat ramp down here and a little boat dock, so you can launch your boat, launch kayaks, you can come out here, paddleboard and all that kind of stuff. So this is a really pretty setting in Hardin Valley, and the neighborhood I was just in is just about 10 minutes that way. So if you live over in most of the neighborhoods, you'll be about 10 minutes from this park and the lake out here, and then just a couple minutes to get over into the commercial area. One of the other things that people love about the Knoxville area is the views you can get. So, you know, you have the Smoky Mountains just about 45 minutes away, but then in the valley down here, you get all of these rolling hills that gives you a lot of these neighborhoods that have a little bit of elevation. So you can have views out over, so like this one, for example, you have views out over the farmland. Some of them will have views, you know, out over the Smoky Mountains themselves. But that's one of the things that people love, especially people moving from a more flat state. They're excited to have some topography that gives them these kind of views. So this neighborhood right here, this is another neighborhood built by Saddlebrook, and the homes in here start in the 800,000s. But if you want to get one of these lots that has this view out over the valley, it's going to be quite a bit more than that. But you can get homes in here starting in the 800,000s. But having a view like this is definitely going to cost you a bit more than just having a standard lot. If you are looking for a view like this, you know, you are going to pay a premium for that kind of lot. But this neighborhood and several others in Hardin Valley and around the Knoxville area have views like this. And then I'm going to take you and show you some that are actually closer up to the mountains, where you sit up and you actually see the mountains right there in the background. Hardin Valley does have some of these neighborhoods with these large lots as well. So the lots in here are going to be 1+ acres. Some of these are well over an acre, just completely surrounded by trees, super private and quiet. And the cool thing about a lot of these neighborhoods in Hardin Valley that have these huge lots is right where I am now, I'm literally only 5 minutes away from Turkey Creek. So a lot of people that are moving to Tennessee want to be in a small town and kind of far out, and that's not what this is. The cool thing about this is you can still be super convenient, but also be in a really, really quiet area. So if you are one of those people that want all the conveniences, but also want to be in a really quiet, secluded area and have a ton of space, then Hardin Valley is going to be one of the places that you can find that. Our next stop is the city of Alcoa, and this is actually a really small town that's about 20 minutes out from Knoxville, also about 20 minutes away from Turkey Creek. It's actually a really convenient location. There's a lot of different shopping areas much closer by, even just like 5 minutes away from here. The town itself is really small. There's not really a downtown or anything, but there's two things that really stand out. The first one is this neighborhood that I'm in right now. It is one of those older, more established neighborhoods with tons of large mature trees, and it has a little bit of that historic character to go along with it. And then it has this huge park right through the middle that is going to be within walking distance of all the homes throughout these neighborhoods. So it's a really nice area. If you like to have somewhere where you can get out and walk, even, you know, walk through the neighborhoods and walk down to this park, and the greenway that runs along through here actually runs about 18 miles over into the next town that we're going into. So it's a really pretty area, easy to get out and walk. There's, you know, playgrounds throughout the park. So that's the first thing that is unique. This is one of the only neighborhoods in this area that's really this walkable and has, you know, a huge park like this. We saw Sequoia Hills. So Sequoia Hills is kind of similar to that, you know, really walkable, has a nice park. But the difference in this one is a lot of the homes in here start in around the $300,000 price point, whereas in Sequoia, most of them are closer to $1 million. So, you know, having that walkable neighborhood in that price point, this beautiful park in here. So that's one of the things that's unique. And then the other thing is it's one of the highest rated school districts in the area. And having the highest rated school districts usually comes with a higher price point. You know, most of the time you're looking at $400,000 to $500,000 for a starting price to get in those higher rated schools. But this one right here, you can actually, like I just mentioned, a lot of these homes start around $300,000. So you can get in a home starting around $300,000 and still have one of the higher rated schools, plus, you know, the park and the beautiful walking area. And Alcoa actually does have this large new development literally right next to that neighborhood I was just in. So this area is bringing in a ton of new restaurants and different shops and things like that. That neighborhood is about a 10-minute walk that direction, about a 2-minute car ride. But, you know, this just is a really convenient new area. If you live in that neighborhood over there, you can get out here. I mean, you could walk to these restaurants in 10 minutes, or there's also a grocery store just down the road here. It's going to be like a 1 to 2 minute drive from this neighborhood. So having a large grocery store, super convenient. And then, like I said, to get over in Knoxville, just 20 minutes, but actually Maryville is the next town over this way, over this direction where we're going. That's just about 10 minutes away. So, you know, really cool neighborhood in here is really one of the highlights of Alcoa, and also convenient to a lot of these different shopping areas. And the other thing that's in Alcoa is actually the Knoxville airport. So just across the highway from here is where the airport is. So if you need to get to the airport from Knoxville, you're going to be coming over here to Alcoa, and it's really just about a 20-minute drive, so not too far. Our next stop is the city of Maryville, and there's three things that I want to bring up that really stand out about Maryville. One is it's closer up to the Smoky Mountains, so I'll take you and show you kind of some of the neighborhoods where you can see the views of the mountains. The second is it has one of the highest rated school districts in the entire state. And then the third is it has more of that small town feel than a lot of the other areas that we've checked out. So it has this historic downtown area and kind of just that small town charm and feel that is kind of missing with some of the other suburbs. So, you know, that's one of the things that people love about Maryville is just being able to have the convenience of being only 25 minutes to Knoxville, but still having really that small town character and charm. And this downtown actually has a ton of stuff here. So there's some really good restaurants. You have Blue Tick Tavern here, you have Bella. There's a couple other really good restaurants down at the end of the street here. Some great coffee shops. So the downtown area definitely adds kind of to the small town charm of Maryville. And then you actually have quite a bit of shopping and other conveniences kind of in the newer shopping area. So you get all the conveniences of kind of the suburb with, you know, the newer shopping, plus you get that small town charm. So this is where the city of Maryville is. And one of the entrances to the Smoky Mountain National Park is right up here. So you're gonna be about a 25-minute drive, you know, give or take, depending on where you live, to get up into the Smoky Mountains. But actually the large mountain range kind of runs along through here. So a lot of the neighborhoods, you're gonna be pretty close and have that view of that first mountain range. And then to get over into downtown Knoxville, or 25 minutes away, also to get over into West Knoxville, you're about 25 minutes away. So there's a ton of stuff in Maryville you don't really ever have to leave, but if you want to get over into Knoxville, just about a 25-minute drive. And this is what a lot of the historic neighborhoods in Maryville look like. So this neighborhood is about 1 minute out from downtown, and the homes in these kind of neighborhoods are going to range anywhere starting from around $300,000 up to some of these are going to be around the $1 million price point. You know, really cool, more historic homes with beautiful landscaping, mature trees, and really convenient to the downtown. So this is Sandy Springs Park. This is one of the large parks in Maryville. And I actually didn't mention this as one of the highlights, but this is really one of the highlights for Maryville. So you have multiple playgrounds here, and there's a ton of people out here right now. You have baseball fields, tennis courts, and then you also have the greenway. So this is the same greenway system that was at that park over in Alcoa. So this is about 18 miles of greenway, and this kind of goes through a lot of Maryville. So that's actually another one of the things stands out about Maryville. It has a really nice greenway system that's going to be accessible from a lot of the neighborhoods. And this is the big shopping area in Maryville, and this is convenient to the neighborhoods, convenient to the downtown area, just a few minutes away from there. You have actually a small indoor shopping mall, and then you have a Publix, you have a Kroger Marketplace. You also have a Target, a Lowe's, a Home Depot, and a bunch of other stuff. I mean, there's gyms here and salons and all that kind of stuff. And then Maryville actually does have its own hospital just on the other side of town. This is one of those neighborhoods in Maryville where you can actually get that long range mountain view. So this kind of sits a little bit towards the mountains from Maryville, and that first range, kind of what you're seeing out behind those homes. There's a bunch of neighborhoods that sit along through this area, literally about 5 minutes out from downtown and just out towards the mountains so you can get that view. So if you are wanting to get a view like that, of course, like I mentioned before, I'm gonna go up into one of the towns that's actually up there in the mountains. But if you want to be more convenient to get into the city and still have views like that, then Maryville is a really good place to be able to do that. The next town we're checking out is the town of Louisville, and the highlight of this town is this lake right here. And this is actually Fort Loudon Lake. West Knoxville is just across the lake from here. So this is the same lake that's in West Knoxville. That's really the highlight of Louisville. There's not really much in Louisville. There's no downtown or really shopping or anything like that. To get into Maryville, you're just about 15 minutes that way, or to get into Knoxville, about 15 minutes that way. So it's still fairly convenient, but these lakeside neighborhoods are really the highlight. This one is called Lashbrook, and this is just one of several of these communities that sit right along the lake here. And just to give you an idea, to get one of these lakefront homes in this neighborhood, you're looking at like the $2 million to $4 million price range. Some of the neighborhoods will have some a little under $2 million, but for the most part, it's gonna be $1.5 million and up to get one of these lakefront properties in Louisville. A lot of these communities will also have a community boat dock. So even if you live in one of the homes that's back off the lake, you can still keep your boat at the dock, just drive down there, walk down there, or take the golf cart, and it'll still be super convenient. And you're gonna pay easily $500,000 less to be, you know, just across the street from the lake than right on the lake. You know, most of the homes in this neighborhood, for example, that are back off the lake are going to be in the $1 to $2 million range, as opposed to the ones right on the lake that are mostly $2 to $4 million range. This is another one of the lakefront neighborhoods in Louisville, and the thing that stands out about this one is these lots are absolutely massive, and some of the lots on the lake are actually well over an acre. You know, a lot of the lakefront neighborhoods, the lakefront lots are fairly small, but some of these are huge, and all the interior lots are huge as well. And that's one of the other things about Louisville. Since it's not very developed, there is a ton of land out here. All these neighborhoods are just surrounded by old farmland, and it's a really pretty area. So if you want to be in kind of a less developed area where you're not going to have to deal with any traffic whatsoever and just have a lot of peace and quiet, then, you know, Louisville has the lake, and it also has kind of that peace and quiet as well. And this is Louisville Marina, one of the main marinas over in Louisville. So even if you don't live right on the lake, you can keep your boat here. So this is not associated with any neighborhood. So anywhere you live, you can keep your boat here. And this is also going to be one of the most convenient marinas if you live in Maryville as well. If you live over in Maryville, this is just going to be about a 10 to 15 minute drive. Our next stop is Lenoir City, and this is another small town outside of Knoxville, and it does have its own historic downtown area. So there's a bunch of different shops and restaurants and coffee shops down through here. This one sits right along Fort Loudon Lake and Tellico Lake. So there's actually two lakes right here. And it is one of the things that stands out is the price point here is just a little bit lower than it is over in those other towns that we've checked out. And I'm gonna hop on the map and kind of show you where it is kind of relative to downtown Knoxville and the Turkey Creek area. Actually, before I hop on the map, I just walked past this little town square area, and they're getting set up for a festival down here this weekend. They're gonna have live music, a bunch of food trucks and stuff like that, and they're getting ready to kick off here in a couple hours. Unfortunately, I don't have time to stay and show you what that'll be like, but they do have some cool stuff that goes on downtown here. All right, so back on the map here, Lenoir City right here, downtown Knoxville is up here. To get over into downtown, you're looking at about a 35-minute drive. Turkey Creek, which is that really big shopping area, is right here. To get over there, depending on what part of Lenoir City you're in, for example, there's a neighborhood right here that we're gonna look at. It's about 15 minutes away. So pretty convenient to get over into those areas. And then you have Fort Loudon Lake, which is a lake that runs along through here. You have Tellico Lake, which goes along through here. So you have those two lakes. So there's a lot of similarities between Lenoir City and the other areas we've checked out. You know, convenience to the shopping areas, the lakes. A couple things that are different. One of those things is the average price point is just a little bit lower. And one of the other things compared to Farragut and Maryville is the schools are not rated quite as high. So you're a little bit further out from town, the schools aren't rated quite as high, but you also get a little bit of a lower price point along with that. So you are just about 15 minutes to get over into Turkey Creek from here, you know, that larger shopping area. But Lenoir City has plenty of stuff right in town. You have a few large grocery stores like the Ingles here. There's a Food City down the street. There is actually a regional hospital down the street here as well. You have a Home Depot, and there's a bunch of other stuff. So you really don't ever have to leave, but if you need to get over into Knoxville, it's fairly close as well. So this is one of the new developments in Lenoir City, and the homes in here start in the 600,000s, and this is about 15 minutes away to get over into Turkey Creek over in Farragut. So just to give you an idea, if you were to take this neighborhood, these homes, and put them over in Farragut, you're probably looking at starting in the 700,000s instead of the 600,000s. And that's, you know, just 10 minutes down the road. So that kind of just gives you an idea, just that different price point, still convenient to get over into all the shopping. You still have all the shopping over in Lenoir City. You have that downtown. You actually have the lake if you go about 5 minutes that way, and you have the marina that's in Lenoir City. I'm about to go over there and show you. So you can still be really convenient to all this stuff. Similar to Farragut as far as convenience goes, but you're just gonna be lower on that price point. This is Fort Loudon Marina, so this is gonna be the largest marina for Lenoir City, and it's just 5 minutes from that neighborhood I was in, and tons of boat slips in here. There's a restaurant right along the lake here as well. And then, so this is gonna be one of the great places to be able to keep your boat. There's also a bunch of boat ramps around. So, if you wanted to keep your boat in your garage and put it in a boat ramp. And then there's a really nice park just on the other side of this marina, Lenoir City Park. They've got pickleball courts, playgrounds, pavilions out along the lake, and a nice walking trail. So, even if you don't live right on the lake, again, there's a ton of ways to be able to enjoy the lake from the marina or the parks. The next community that we're checking out is called Wind River, and this is a really unique community in the Knoxville area because it has a ton of different amenities and it is lakefront. So as I mentioned when we were over at a couple of those country clubs over in Knoxville, if you want to be in Knoxville and have the amenities like the fitness center, the golf course, the restaurants and all that kind of stuff, then you kind of need to be in one of those country club neighborhoods, or you can join, one of the local gyms. But if you want it right in your neighborhood, it's going to be with one of those two country clubs we saw. The unique thing about Wind River here is it has all the amenities right here in the community, and it is lakefront. It sits right along Tellico Lake. It has the golf course that I'm on right now. They're actually building a brand new clubhouse in here as well. You can see the construction going on right down here. So it already has a restaurant and, you know, clubhouse and pro shop, but they're building that brand new one. And it's going to have even more amenities in there, you know, brand new fitness center, new restaurant space. So a ton of stuff. But then the lake, which is, this golf course sits just a couple hundred yards away from the lake and kind of wraps through the neighborhoods. So the lake over here, a ton of the homes have views out over the lake. You know, you're in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains still, so kind of see the rolling hills. So it's an absolutely beautiful setting with the golf course, the lake, and then of course you do have a community marina in here. So, you know, you hop on your golf cart from anywhere in the community and you can be down at the marina in just a few minutes. Again, to have a lakefront community with all these amenities, really a unique thing for the Knoxville area. Now there are a couple other communities that actually offer, you know, the amenities and lakefront and golf. I'm gonna take you and show you a couple other ones. The thing that is, there's actually two things that stand out about Wind River above those other communities. Number one is it's actually a little bit closer into Knoxville. So it's in Lenoir City, just across the lake actually from the other part of Lenoir City, where the downtown is, but it's also only about 15 minutes to get over into West Knoxville or get over into Turkey Creek. So it's a very convenient area for getting over into shopping, or if you needed to get over to healthcare or anything like that. So it's super convenient. So that's one of the things that stands out about it compared to some of these other lakeside communities. It's the closest one into Knoxville. And then the second thing that stands out, this is the highest end community that you're gonna find out of these kind of amenity rich lakefront communities. So the homes in here are absolutely beautiful, beautifully maintained community, beautifully maintained lots. So as far as just getting that luxury feel, of course it is a gated community, so completely private and secure, but just getting that luxury feel, being closer to town and having all the amenities, this is going to be the #1 community to be able to get that combination of all those different things. So this is the current clubhouse and restaurant right here behind me. And then you can see over here is where they're building that brand new facility. So this is going to be really nice. It's going to have the new restaurant space and clubhouse, fitness center, all that. And of course it has this view out over the golf course as well. So the restaurant's gonna have this view looking out over the green and over the fairway. One of the things I wanted to mention is if you are interested in this particular community, they have a package that allows you to come and stay here and experience what the lifestyle is of this community, because that is really one of the things that stands out, is just the lifestyle that you get to have if you live here. So, you know, all the amenities, the convenience to get into Knoxville, the lakefront, but it's really the lifestyle that comes along with living here, you know, having kind of these social areas where you can get together with people, the different events. So if you want to experience what that lifestyle would be like, they do offer that package, and you can come and stay here, experience everything that the community has to offer. And if you want us to help you get set up with that, again, you can just click the link in the description to schedule a call with us, or simply shoot us a text at the number that's on the screen here. We'll get you set up with that package. But again, the new facility here is just gonna kind of, I mean, already a super nice community, one of the best communities for amenities, but that new amenity center is just gonna bring it even a step up. This next community is called Tennessee National. This is another lakefront golf community, and it is about 20 to 25 minutes out from Turkey Creek, so still pretty convenient to get into town. And this community is just surrounded by nature. I mean, you'll drive in and just see, you know, deer and all kinds of wildlife, and, you know, then it sits on the lake. So you have lakefront lots, you have wooded lots. You can see up the street here. You can actually, you know, along this hill, along this ridge, and along this ridge up here, there are neighborhoods back through the woods there. So, you know, lakefront, and then you have wooded lots, and then you have incredible amenities here as well. So this is a new facility for the clubhouse with a restaurant and an additional bar area, views out over the golf course, a member lounge downstairs, and then just down the street here on the other side of the driving range, you have brand new pickleball courts, which is one of the most important things. You got to have your pickleball courts. And then you also have, of course, your pro shop for the golf course. But one other thing right here that I wanted to point out is the driving range that they have here has Top Tracer technology, which is the same technology that you find at a Topgolf. So you can actually track where your shots are going. You can play simulated courses. You can play different games like you would at Topgolf, and that's really cool. They have an additional bar right next to the driving range here. So it creates kind of an additional hangout spot. So if you have somebody that just wants to hang out and not play, you can have somebody at the driving range, somebody just hanging out here at the additional bar area, and they have different events and stuff. There's also an event center right behind the clubhouse here. There's tons of events that go on here and just a really great social atmosphere, different hangout spots. And then there's also the golf course itself, which is consistently rated as one of the top courses in the state. So this is a great community to be able to have a top rated golf course. The top tracer technology driving range is really cool. And then incredible amenities as far as the clubhouse. They have a fitness center, great restaurant and all that kind of stuff. And then on top of that is lakefront. So this is the Tennessee National Marina right here. And they have uncovered boat slips for day use. And then they have a ton of covered slips. So if you live in the community, you can keep your boat at one of these slips, and they're actually permitted to build even more. So there's plenty of boat slips and, full service marina with gas and everything. And then one of the coolest things, honestly, in this entire community that's gonna be coming in the future is a waterfront restaurant right here. So they are gonna have this, not only the marina here, but also the waterfront restaurant that's going to be available from your boat or from the community. So you can, pull up on your boat and go to the restaurant, or drive your golf cart down from the community, and it's just going to be an incredible setting for a restaurant and a hangout spot. And by the way, this community is accessible by golf cart everywhere. So no matter where you live, you can get all around the community on your golf cart, whether you want to go up there to the clubhouse, you want to come down here to where this new restaurant is going to be, or down here to your boat, you're going to be able to take your golf cart from your house. That's, one of the things that a lot of people I know are looking for in kind of a golf course lakefront community like that, is to be golf cart accessible, and you definitely can get that here in Tennessee National. The next community is Tellico Village, and this one, just like the last two, sits right along the lake. It has the marinas and it has a lot of other stuff I'll talk about in just a second, but it's unique from the other two because it is actually set up and marketed as a retirement community. Now, it's technically not a 55 plus community, and we have younger families that will move in here because it's really just a beautiful area and there's a lot that it offers. But it is marketed, if you're looking at their website and all that kind of stuff, it is marketed as a retirement community, and it's definitely one of the most popular places to retire in Tennessee. One of the things that's really unique about it is there's a ton of stuff to do as far as different social events and social clubs. So they have a ton of different amenities here, just like you'd expect from all these other communities. I mean, the lake here is probably the number one thing. Of course, you have the Smoky Mountains not too far away. You have, restaurants, and then you actually have 3 golf courses. Plus you have a ton of pickleball courts. I mean, the pickleball is definitely a big deal here. But in addition to all those amenities, you also have a lot of different clubs. Pretty much any kind of interest you have, any hobby you have, whether it's a book club, whether it's a outdoor club, hiking club, boating, kayaking, any kind of club, any kind of interest you can imagine, cars, motorcycles, RVs, all kinds of stuff. And it really facilitates getting to know people. So if you're retiring to the area and you want to have that kind of social environment and social aspect to a community that facilitates you getting to know people, then Tellico Village does a really good job of that. So the amenities that it has here, it has the lake, it has the yacht club here with a really good restaurant. There's actually multiple marinas with boat slips, and then they have a couple different fitness facilities. They have tennis courts and of course pickleball courts, and the pickleball, like I mentioned, is a really big deal here. I mean, there's always people out on the pickleball courts. There's 3 golf courses. They have multiple driving ranges, so a ton of stuff to do right here in the community. There's multiple restaurants in the community. They have restaurants at the golf courses. They have other restaurants that are actually in the community but not run by the community. So there's a Mexican restaurant, an Italian restaurant, there's a Thai restaurant, a bunch of other stuff, and then there's actually full grocery store right in the community as well. So for your grocery shopping, you can use the grocery store here in the community, or to get over into Lenoir City, where we were a few minutes ago, is just about 15 minutes away. If you're looking for a retirement community, that's everything that this one has to offer, and it's really set up more for retirement than any of these others. I mean, a lot of these places are really actually very popular for retirement. All these towns and all these communities are pretty popular for people moving in for retirement, but if you want kind of that social aspect and to be set up specifically for retirement, then Tellico Village is one of the best. Our next stop is Sevier County, and the number one thing to highlight about Sevier County is the mountains. So Knoxville is about 45 minutes out from the mountains. Sevier County sits right there at the foothills of the mountains. So you can see in the background there, and actually a lot of the neighborhoods sit up on the smaller mountains, and then you have the larger mountains in the background. So all these homes just have those incredible views out over the mountains. Over in Sevierville itself, there are a lot of conveniences as far as shopping and dining, and really a lot of amenities over there. you can get these incredible views and still be convenient to all that. So this neighborhood where I am now is actually about 20 minutes out from town, out from Sevierville. But there are neighborhoods that have these kind of views that are closer into town, some that are even just a few minutes out. This is about 45 minutes out from Knoxville, so a little bit of a longer drive to get into Knoxville. What you'll see is you have pretty much all the amenities that you could need just about 20 minutes away. But these mountains, this is actually the Smoky Mountain National Park in the background, and then you have the smaller foothills of the mountains with the neighborhoods that kind of sit up on top of the hills, on top of the smaller mountains, and then look out over those larger mountains. So if you are looking for one of the best mountain views in the area, then Sevier County is one of the places that you can find that. Of course, you can be closer into Knoxville or Maryville or any of those other places, and you can still see these mountains in the background. But if you really want to be up here in the mountains really close by and have that close-up mountain view, then Sevier County is definitely one of the top places to get that. So I'm out here in the commercial area of Sevier County now, and this area is absolutely huge. And one of the things that's important to know about Sevier County is it's a really big tourist destination. So you have Pigeon Forge here, which is one of the towns in Sevier County. You have Gatlinburg, even up a little bit further into the mountains. And then this kind of just runs into Sevierville, but this is just one of the small kind of like entertainment areas in Pigeon Forge. I mean, this road goes miles this way and miles this way, and you've never seen so many attractions. You know, putt-putt. There's actually a ride right here, like in this shopping area. There are tons of roller coasters and go-kart tracks and just all kinds of stuff to do, plus all the restaurants, and there's different shows that you can go to. So even in this area, I mean, you see the different restaurants, the different shops in here, the rides. There's a little train going by right here for kids, a little kids ride right there. So, I mean, the whole area here is just lined with a bunch of different stuff like this. So there is more to do here than just about anywhere in the entire area. I mean, as far as like different attractions and just things to do. So if you want to be close to an area that has a ton of stuff to do like that, this is a cool area to be, but it's really important to know that it is primarily a tourist destination. So there's a lot of traffic. You're going to be dealing with mostly tourists. So for a lot of people, they prefer to live in a different area and just come to this area to visit and to have stuff to do, maybe stay in a cabin up here. But if you do want to live over, you know, in one of those mountainside communities, this actually is a kind of cool area to be close to. So this is where we are on the map right now. The neighborhood I was just in up in the mountains is right here. And there's a bunch more neighborhoods kind of surrounding this area, but this large commercial development runs all along this road here from Sevierville up through Pigeon Forge. And this is going to be, you know, like I said, one of the largest tourist destinations in the country. And then Gatlinburg right here is a mountain town that is really literally up there in the mountains. So completely surrounded by mountains, a ton of stuff right there in Gatlinburg as well. And then actually right here on the edge of Pigeon Forge is Dollywood, is a large theme park. So people come literally from all over the country, one of the top tourist destinations in the country. So if you don't want to have to deal with a lot of traffic or a lot of tourists, it's probably not the area that you want to live, but it is cool if you want to live nearby and have, you know, the theme park, all the different shopping options, Gatlinburg, which is that mountain town. You know, along that shopping area, you have of course you have things like Target and Walmart, all that normal stuff. There's a large outlet mall as well, and then tons of different attractions, you know, go-karts and all that kind of stuff. A really cool place to visit, or if you do want to be in a more tourist area, it could be a cool place to live as well. But if you live kind of on the outskirts, you know, anywhere in here or over on this side, you're going to be able to have, you know, some incredible mountain views and still have access to a lot of amenities here in Pigeon Forge and Sevierville. Our next stop is Dandridge, and there are three things that make Dandridge unique and make it stand out. The first two are the lake and then the mountains that you can see in the background, and the camera never does it quite justice. But Dandridge sits on the east side of Knoxville. So this is Douglas Lake. This is a different lake than any of the other lakes we've seen so far. And then it's actually closer up into the mountains than most of the other towns. So you can get a lakeside community that is really, the mountains are just across the lake from here. So you can be really close to the mountains as well. So those are the first two things that are unique. And then the third thing, homes here are actually priced lower than they are in Sevier County or over on the other side of Knoxville. So the other areas that we've seen where you can get, you know, lakeside communities are on the west side of Knoxville, and homes are priced higher on the west side of Knoxville than they are over here in Dandridge, and then homes up in Sevier County, mostly because it's a large tourist destination, are also priced higher. So in Dandridge, you can actually get, lakeside and really close by to the mountains and have a lower price point than you can in any of those other communities. The combination of those three things is really something that makes this area stand out. So you can see from this community right here, you can see the lake in the background and then the mountains as well, which is incredible. But I'm gonna go take a look at a lakeside community, and then we'll go head to the downtown area really quick. But hopefully this video has helped you out. But if you want my team to personally walk you through our path framework to identify which area of Tennessee would be the best fit for you, you can book a Zoom call with us by scanning the QR code on the screen here or clicking the link in the description below. So it's super easy to book that Zoom call, and we will personally walk you through that framework and help you figure out which area would be the best fit for you. Or if you already know what area you want to be in and you're ready to start looking at homes, just book that Zoom call and we'll get that process started for you as well. But let's go check out the other parts of Dandridge, and then the last one we're going to check out is that unique area actually closer to downtown Knoxville. So we're going to go back closer to downtown and check out some of the areas right there in town. And Dandridge does have its own downtown area as well, and it doesn't have a whole lot down here, but it's a really cool historic, just has that historic charm, the cool old brick buildings and the old historic homes that kind of surround this little area. So there's a couple coffee shops, a couple restaurants, a couple shops, and it also sits right along the lake. So it's a really pretty area, lakefront and these cool historic buildings. You get the lakefront, you get the mountains in the background, you get the cool downtown area, the lower price point than over on the other side of Knoxville. So just an example of some lake homes that are for sale, and these are just down the street from downtown, but these are in the 900,000s, and they have that view out over the lake and out over the mountain. So compared to over in Knoxville, that's gonna be quite a bit lower on price. So Dandridge sits right here on the map. It's about a 30-minute drive to get into downtown Knoxville. The lake, obviously Douglas Lake sits right there next to Dandridge. That first mountain range that you can see sits right along through here. So it's really close by, just sits right behind where the lake is. One of the things that I wanted to bring up, and this is really one of the primary reasons that the prices in Dandridge are lower than on the west side of Knoxville. So take, Farragut, Lenoir City, for example, the prices over in Dandridge are gonna be significantly lower. And the way Knoxville has been developed over the last few decades, you can see actually the areas that are shaded white on the map are more developed. They have more commercial development, more neighborhoods, more developed overall. And you can see this whole area out towards the west in Knoxville is all shaded white, meaning there's much more development over there. Over here on the east side, it's all shaded green, meaning there is really not much development on that east side of Knoxville. So when you get over into Dandridge, it's about a 30-minute drive to get to downtown, but then if you want to get over to the west side of Knoxville, where a lot of those larger shopping areas are, that's going to be closer to an hour, maybe about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on where you're going. So it's a pretty good drive to get over to that side. So Dandridge, you're going to have grocery stores, you'll have Walmart, so you don't need to go over there. But if you do want to get over to Costco or Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or a lot of other stuff, you may need to go about 45 minutes to an hour over on the west side of Knoxville. You get the lake, you get the mountains really close by, absolutely beautiful setting, just a little less convenient as far as being close to some of those other amenities. The next area we're checking out is North Knoxville, and we're making it all the way back around, back to downtown, and this is the area that sits just north of downtown, and it's gonna be one of the best areas if you wanna be in kind of a more urban area with the older historic homes, a little bit more of an urban vibe, but you don't want to be right downtown. From right here, you could walk to downtown in about 10 minutes. In this little neighborhood here, you have these really pretty older historic homes. You also have a grocery store right here. So you do have just about everything you need in this neighborhood. And then just down the street here, you're actually going to have a little district with some more coffee shops. There's actually several breweries within walking distance of here and several really good restaurants as well. So if you want to live in one of those areas where you're going to be able to, walk to a restaurant, walk to a brewery, walk to a coffee shop, even walk to a grocery store, and also have really close access to downtown, North Knoxville is a great place to be able to do that. South Knoxville, just across the river, actually has an area a little bit like this, although it is not quite as built up as North Knoxville, but it does have a cool area right along the river. But North Knoxville is a great area to be able to have kind of that walkable area, a little bit more of an urban vibe, but not live right downtown. So the homes that are in here are gonna be a lot of those cooler historic homes built back in the early 1900s, or some even before that. A lot of them have been renovated, so they have that cool historic charm. And then there are some apartments and condos that have been put down here as well. But if you want that walkability, that urban vibe, and that close access to downtown, then North Knoxville is a great option. But that just about wraps it up for this video. If you want my team's help making the move to Tennessee, if you want us to help you evaluate all the different areas using our path framework, or if you know what area you want to move to and you're ready to start your home search, book a Zoom call by clicking the link or scanning the QR code, and we'll see you on the other side.